this sort of element of fear factor about British streets being like that, but then trying to find a perspective about all that, the fact that violence is a daily and a continual thing. There's a combination of horror and of sickness about what's happened, but it's also blended together with the combination of the recollections of the day of his wedding here, which of course was a day of that lovely combination of nervous excitement which goes with nearly all wedding couples really, and Lee wasn't an exception to that. You know, I'd met them for several months beforehand to do some beginnings of preparation, so we had a lot of a very buoyant feeling all the time beforehand, and of course all those emotions have come together in one go, which happened yesterday afternoon. One of the things that was especially poignant about Lee was that it was at a time when the military presence was beginning to get a higher and higher profile because of the conflict overseas, and it was raised much higher in the consciousness of British people in particular at that stage. And he was talking quite openly about the degree of commitments he was giving himself to, one to the military and one to being married. They'd also spoken quite seriously and quite personally with a military chaplain up at the garrison in Catterick. And they'd spoken quite openly as a couple as well about the questions of risk, the higher risk factor of marrying into the military, and thereby, of course, in the early years of a man's married life, he was more than likely to be sent off to military, to war zones, which he was. I think he did one tour of Afghanistan. I'm not completely sure about that, but of course nobody would have perceived he would have been killed on the streets. There have been some reactions from sort of far-right political movements who are wanting to make some kind of objection about the presence of Islam and so on, and that being a motivating factor. The English Defence League apparently are going to march through Halifax on Sunday morning and use the cenotaph as their point of focus. So that there has been some element of reaction on a wider political front. But in terms of the local people, from what I've heard so far, the only reaction has been compassion towards the bereaved, horror at the manner of killing, but sorrow towards the bereaved.